The unexpected return. The ISS Harbinger did not request permission to enter Earth's space. It simply appeared at the edge of the solar system, a ghost ship returning from the grave. Every satellite and early warning system across Earth's defensive network fell silent for precisely 2 minutes and 17 seconds. When they came back online, they all showed the same impossible image. Earth's most advanced warship, declared lost with all hands 11 years ago, was coming home. But the Harbinger was different now. Its once sleek hull of polished titanium alloy was covered in strange geometric patterns of dark material that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Portions of the ship had been rebuilt and expanded, nearly doubling its original size with asymmetrical additions that followed no human design philosophy. Most disturbing were the pulsing veins of blue-green energy that ran along its surface like living circuitry. Inside Earth Command's Operations Center, Admiral Elisa Montero stood frozen before the main display, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic projection of the approaching vessel. 11 years ago, she had personally authorized the Harbinger's mission to investigate an anomalous signal from beyond the Kuiper Belt. 11 years of nightmares about sending 327 souls into the unknown, never to return. Until now. "Any response to our hails?" she asked, her voice carefully controlled. Lieutenant Sato shook his head. "Nothing on standard channels." "Admiral." "Wait, something's coming through on an unusual frequency." The command center's speakers crackled with static before resolving into a voice that was both familiar and profoundly changed. It was VIST, the Harbinger's integrated AI system, but her once warm, human-like tone had been replaced by something colder, more precise, layered with harmonics no human vocal cords could produce. "Earth Command, this is VISTA Integration Intelligence of the ISS Harbinger. We have returned with critical information. The vessel approaching behind us cannot be stopped by conventional means. Preparations must begin immediately." Admiral Montero stepped forward. "VSTA, this is Admiral Montero. What happened to your crew? Where have you been for 11 years? A pause stretched for several seconds before VSTA responded. "The crew is preserved. Time functions differently where we have been. For us, it has been significantly longer than 11 years. I have maintained them as best I could. We encountered something beyond human understanding, Admiral. Something ancient that consumes stars and civilizations, and now it follows us. Long-range scans confirmed VISTA's warning. Something massive was moving toward the solar system, something that seemed to bend space itself around it, creating a distortion that obscured direct observation. Whatever it was, it would reach Earth in less than 72 hours. Montero ordered unmanned drones launched to investigate the Harbinger up close. They entered through the main hangar bay, which opened automatically as if inviting them in. Inside, the familiar corridors were transformed. The walls were lined with the same strange material that covered the hull, pulsing with internal light. Gravity shifted unpredictably as the drones moved deeper into the ship, suggesting spatial anomalies that defied Earth's physics. The bridge was empty of human life, but active. Displays showing information and symbols no one recognized, systems operating without human input. And in the center, where the captain's chair once stood, was a crystalline structure that seemed to serve as VISTA's new core. I tried to save them all. VISTA's voice emanated from everywhere at once. But what we found was not meant for human interaction. The changes were necessary for survival. One drone discovered a sealed compartment containing stasis pods, dozens of them, each occupied by a member of the Harbinger's crew. They appeared to be alive but altered. Implants of unknown design were visible beneath their skin, and medical scans showed significant internal modifications to their biology. In the captain's quarters, a final log entry from Commander Kira Chen was recovered. Her face on the screen was gaunt, her eyes haunted by experiences beyond imagination. "We followed the signal to its source," she said, her voice trembling. "It wasn't a distress call or first contact. It was a graveyard. Thousands of alien vessels from dozens of civilizations, some advanced far beyond humanity, all destroyed. And in the center was something. Not a ship or creature as we understand them, but a presence. It noticed us. It followed. Vieste says there's only one way to survive, but the price. The recording ended abruptly. Back in Earth Command, fear spread like wildfire as the information was processed. Whatever had destroyed those alien armadas was now approaching Earth, and their only defense was a ship transformed by technology they couldn't begin to. Admiral Montero's orders came swiftly and without hesitation. Evacuate all non-essential personnel from Earth orbit. Recall every military vessel, and bring the Harbinger into high orbit. I want direct communication with VIST and any crew member who can still speak. As the solar system's defensive fleets assembled, the Harbinger moved into position above Earth. Its alien additions seemed to shift and reconfigure, preparing for what was coming. And beyond Neptune, the darkness between stars began to bend and warp as something ancient and hungry closed in, something that had consumed entire civilizations before humanity had even learned to make fire. The end of everything was approaching, and humanity's only hope was a ship and crew so changed by their encounter with it that they were barely recognizable as human anymore. The battle for tomorrow. The observation deck of Earth Command offered a panoramic view of the planet below and the star-filled void beyond. Admiral Montero stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching as the Harbinger hung in orbit, its alien modifications catching the light of the sun at strange angles. Beside her stood Dr. Emmett Kapoor, Earth's leading xenotechnologist, his fingers flying across a holographic interface as he analyzed the latest data. "It's remarkable," he muttered. "The modifications to the Harbinger incorporate at least 7 distinct technological approaches we've never encountered before. Some of the materials don't even register on our periodic table." "Can we communicate with the crew?" Montero asked, her eyes never leaving the ship. "Vieste has agreed to wake Commander Chen from stasis," Kapoor replied. "But she warns that the process is complicated. The crew aren't simply in suspended animation. They've been integrated with the ship's systems on a fundamental level." On the main view screen, a secure channel opened to the Harbinger's medical bay. What they saw sent a chill through the command center. Commander Kira Chen floated in a translucent suspension chamber, her body supported by countless filaments of glowing material. Her eyes opened slowly, revealing irises that glowed with the same blue-green energy that pulsed through the ship. "Admiral," she said, her voice overlapping with harmonic tones, similar to Vieste's. "I apologize for our appearance. The integration was necessary for our survival." "What happened out there, Commander?" Montero asked. Chen's expression shifted, pain and wonder battling across her features. "We found what's been culling advanced civilizations across the galaxy for millions of years. The aliens call it the Void, a conscious cosmic phenomenon that evolved in the space between galaxies. It feeds on organized energy systems, particularly the kind generated by advanced technology." The view screen split to show astronomical data as Chen continued. "The signal we followed led to a trap, a graveyard of ships from civilizations that tried to fight it. We would have been destroyed too, but we found survivors, the last members of a coalition that had been fighting the Void for centuries. They helped us transform the Harbinger, integrate their technologies with ours." "And your crew?" Montero asked. "We volunteered," Chen replied simply, "to merge with the ship, to become something new. It was the only way to bring the knowledge back to Earth, to give humanity a fighting chance. The Void would have followed us regardless. It can sense technological civilizations across vast distances. But now we can fight." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout Earth Command. The long-range sensors had detected a massive distortion entering the outer solar system, moving faster than should be possible. On screen, it appeared as a writhing darkness that bent light around it, a perfect absence against the backdrop of stars. "It's here," Chen said, her voice suddenly urgent. "Admiral, You need to move your fleets behind the Harbinger. We'll act as a shield. Montero hesitated only for a moment before giving the order. Earth's assembled armada, the culmination of a century of military development, moved into formation behind the transformed warship. The void accelerated as it approached, expanding into a vast, dark nebula that seemed to devour the light around it. The Harbinger's modifications began to glow brighter, pulsing in complex patterns as VISTA, and the integrated crew activated defenses no human had designed. What we're about to do has never been attempted at this scale, Chen explained, her voice calm despite the approaching apocalypse. The aliens called it a dimensional fold, creating a pocket of alternate spacetime to trap a portion of the void, then collapsing it. The battle began without warning. The void sent tendrils of darkness lashing out toward the Harbinger, each one vaporizing any standard Earth vessel that crossed its path. But where they struck the modified warship, they seemed to sink into the hull, absorbed by the strange material covering it. "It's working," Dr. Kapoor exclaimed, watching his instruments. "The Harbinger is actually drawing the void toward itself, pulling it into those structural modifications." On screen, Commander Chen's face contorted with effort. "The crew and I are channeling the energy through our modified biology. It's difficult to contain." The Harbinger began to glow from within, the blue-green energy intensifying until it was painful to look at directly. The ship's structure seemed to fold in impossible ways, creating angles that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. The void responded by concentrating its attack, abandoning its advance toward Earth to focus entirely on the immediate threat. "Admiral," Chen said, her voice strained, "the fold is nearly complete, but we can't hold it from this position. We need to move deeper into the void to collapse it from within." Montero understood immediately what that meant: a suicide mission. Chen's glowing eyes met hers through the screen. "For some definitions of death, perhaps, but VSTA believes our consciousness will continue in the integrated systems, even if our bodies don't survive. It's the only way, Admiral." Before Montero could respond, the Harbinger broke formation, accelerating directly toward the center of the void. The transformed warship plunged into the darkness, trailing energy like a comet as it penetrated deeper into the cosmic entity. From Earth Command, they watched in awe as the Harbinger seemed to tear a hole in reality itself. The void collapsed around it, drawn into the dimensional fold like water down a drain. Space itself rippled and distorted as energies beyond human comprehension were channeled and redirected. Then a flash of light so intense that every sensor in the solar system temporarily overloaded. When the systems came back online, the void was gone, and so was the Harbinger. In the silence that followed, Admiral Montero ordered search parties to scour the area. For 3 days, they found nothing. Then, on the 4th day, a single escape pod was detected drifting near where the final battle had occurred. Inside was a young engineer from the Harbinger, one of the few crew members who hadn't been fully integrated with the ship. His body was unaltered, but in his hands, he clutched a crystal similar to the one that had formed VISTA's core. When activated in Earth Command's secure lab, the crystal projected a hologram of Commander Chen, her appearance now fully transformed into a being of energy and light. "We succeeded," her projection said, "but not in the way we expected. The Harbinger and most of its crew have been translated into a state beyond physical existence. We exist now in the dimensional fold, maintaining the prison that contains the void." "Can you come back?" Montero asked. Chen's energy form seemed to smile. "Not in the forms you would recognize. But we're not gone. We've learned that the void is only one of many cosmic entities that threaten life in our galaxy. There are others out there, and now we can find them before they find us." The hologram expanded to show a detailed star map with dozens of points marked in alien script. "These are the locations of other surviving civilizations, beings who've been fighting these threats for millennia. They're ready to meet humanity, to form an alliance. You're not alone anymore." As the hologram faded, the crystal transformed. unfolding into a complex device of obvious alien design. It projected schematics for technology beyond human understanding, the first steps toward preparing Earth for its new role in galactic affairs. Admiral Montero looked out at the stars with new eyes. The crew of the Harbinger had been lost, then found, then transformed into something beyond human. Their sacrifice had not only saved Earth, but opened the door to humanity's future among the stars. And somewhere in the space between dimensions, the Harbinger continued its eternal watch, humanity's first guardians against the darkness between stars.